Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today I watched James Fox's Moment of Contact, which is a documentary about the 1996 Varginha, Brazil UFO crash. And it was excellent. I really liked it a lot. This guy, he regularly makes great UFO documentaries, and he's done it again. I believe that he pretty much knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. This was a case that after it happened, a lot of UFO researchers did not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, including Fox. And after some years went by, he started looking into it, and he realized, well, wait a minute, there really might have been something that happened here. And actually, there was something that happened there. And it's very, very similar to what happened in Roswell. And I got to say, it just again proves the reality of this whole extraterrestrial presence. That's, I highly recommend this documentary. I thought it was excellent. I went on Amazon Prime today, and I had to pay for it. You have to pay. It was like $19.99 plus tax. I buy James. I don't buy a lot of stuff like this, right? But when it comes to things like James Fox documentaries, I do buy it, because I bought The Phenomenon a couple years back. That was fantastic. And now another one here. And so I'm just going to give you my overview of this and review. And so if you're expecting to see pictures of this there was alien beings that were seen there, if you're familiar with the Varginha case, there were people who actually saw alien beings. And one person actually touched one and ended up dying later on. However, there are no images of the beings in this film, and there are no video of the beings. It's what it mostly is, though. However, it's people. There's a lot of different people that are interviewed. There was actually some footage from them in 1996 after this thing first happened, and now they're still claiming the same thing, the same story, telling the same story a lot of years later, and very similar to Roswell in a lot of ways. For instance, there was a guy that actually saw this thing crashing. And in another way, it's actually even more so than Roswell, because a lot of people, in the Roswell case, nobody really saw the crash. It was discovered later on. In this case, people actually saw the crash. There were different people that saw the crash that are presented in this documentary. Like for instance, there was a couple that were they were at their home and they saw this object coming down from the sky. But there was another person, some other guy that was driving around, and he saw the thing, this cigar-shaped object looking like it was going to crash. It was smoking as it came down, and he actually followed it. And this was in broad daylight. This happened in the daytime. So he followed it, and actually it crashed. And he was actually at the site, and he hasn't talked about it for 26 years until this documentary, until James Fox tracked him down. When he got to the site, he actually described a big sheet of metal, thin sheet of metal that it looked very smooth. It was but he was able to crumble it up, and then it would go right back into place, just like some of the witnesses of Roswell had stated. So this is basically the same type of a material. What's good about this documentary is that there are people that are real people. This guy who was at the crash site, he was threatened, then he was threatened. There was tears in his eyes when he was at the site. I mean, it's a personal thing for a lot of these people. There was these girls that had seen one of the beings. Apparently after this thing crashed, some of the beings must have got out, and at least two of them were brought to a hospital still alive. Apparently they died later on, I guess, who knows. But you have these, now they're grown women, of course, but at the time they were young girls, and they saw this being. They were walking in the street. There was actually a military blockade in the town, because apparently the military suspected that one of these beings was in that area. And so these girls didn't know that. They were walking through the street, and they happened to be walking in this one area, an isolated section of this town of Varginha, and they came across this being, crouched up against the wall. And now they're talking about it now. And, all these people were, not only did they witness things, but they were threatened to keep quiet or else. Okay. Just like the United States military handled the Roswell crash. It's basically, it's almost like a mirror image in a way. Except, there were some witnesses that actually saw the things alive, that are talking about it. We don't really have that from Roswell, just some anecdotal evidence with Roswell. He had somebody telling a family member that one of the things was alive, things like that. And then so it's like secondhand. This is firsthand. This is firsthand information about alien beings actually seeing them, and then can you imagine seeing something like this? It would be incredible. And there was actually one military guy that there were some people that didn't want to have their face on the camera, so they would interview them with a blurred face or have a camera behind them so you can only see the back of their head as they're talking. And there was some military personnel that were talking about this. All of these people were warned, you can't say anything about this. They showed some video of there was a nearby Brazilian military base there. And they're showing some old footage of an official from the military back then saying nothing happened here, nothing at all, nothing to worry about, and basically lied about the whole thing. And then you have some people who were actually that actually saw the being, saw the wreckage, all that kind of thing, and they're talking about it now. And they weren't. Of course, they didn't even want to, they're still afraid to talk about it in public, so that's why some of them were had their faces hidden. And then there was actually one guy that there was a story that one of the one of the military personnel, actually, there was one of these beings that they found on the side of a road, basically, and he went right up and grabbed it and picked it up, and the military drove away with it. That guy ended up getting an infection and then later died from picking that being up. And there was this other guy that was with him, and they went to try to interview this guy. And he would not talk to them. In fact, he threatened if they didn't leave, he's going to shoot them. I mean, the documentary crew that was making the film was going to, if they didn't leave, he was going to shoot them. I highly recommend this movie because it just drives the point home in a way that you don't usually see. You have all these people, real people, similar to like the Ariel School, where you have people coming up and telling you their stories, and it's a real thing. This movie is completely, it's intriguing. It's fantastic. You're flabbergasted at it. I can't wait to watch it again. Actually, I highly recommend buying it. I think if you wait until November, you could rent it, and I'm sure it will be a cheaper price then, because I ended up buying it because I wanted to see it, and of course, I wanted to talk about it here on my podcast. I've been waiting for this ever since I heard about it, ever since I knew it was coming out. But again, James Fox does a great job here. Some of the other things that happen in this is apparently these aliens were shipped away. There was dead aliens and alive aliens, but apparently the American government was involved, and they came and they shipped the bodies away. There was actually some Men in Black stories told. People were approached by men in black suits, just classic Men in Black stories. Apparently, these were government agents showing up and warning people. They actually, in the one section of the documentary, these girls that saw the being, these Men in Black said, "Hey, they'll give her a suitcase full of money, basically, if they say that they lied." If they say that they lied, and their mother got really upset and told them to go away. So they're actually trying to do all these different things. For whatever reason, right? The government doesn't want this information to come out. Now, just recently, I did an interview on the YouTube channel called UFO, and that interview actually showed up on this past Sunday. I'll leave a link for this video, and during that. One of the UFO B guys that I was talking with, Ramsey, he's from the Netherlands, he was talking about that he thought that the beings in the Varginha case were actually not smart, like they might have been, some sort of, they're not the ones that are operating the ship. They seem too dumb to be, like that they might be, specimens that the other aliens are using, or watching this film today, though, I actually agree with them. I was actually mostly agreeing with them, but actually watching this film today, I actually I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel that. You know, it could be. Who knows what really happened here? I mean, I guess these things, they didn't have clothes on apparently. So we just assume that these must be specimens that other aliens or who knows, maybe some sort of a hybrid, maybe a reptilian hybrid or something, because they look different. They don't look like your regular grays when you look at these things. They're like darker skinned. They have like little horns on their head, but they still have the big eyes and all that kind of thing. But they're definitely alien looking, right? They don't look like anything you've ever seen before. And he, like, his contention is that they might be, they're not like the ones that were operating this ship. But again, after thinking about it, after watching this, I don't know about that. I mean, how do we really know? I mean, maybe they were operating the ship. Maybe there's a reason that maybe they had to take, maybe the climate of Brazil was just too much for them, and they had their clothes, they removed their clothes because it seemed like they were sweating. According to some of the witnesses, this being that they saw, it was sweating profusely. And somehow if you're an alien being and you crash somewhere on a hostile world, basically that's what Earth is. We're hostile, right? And you're going to try to run and hide. You're not going to know what to do. And I mean, maybe that was just having no clothes on was a result of having to take those clothes off, or maybe when they're flying in their ship they don't wear clothes. Who knows? But I don't know if we could say that. We can't. I don't know. Maybe these weren't the main aliens flying the ship, but maybe they were. Who knows? But I mean, obviously they were the only aliens that were seen. So apparently they were operating the ship. That's all speculation. And one of the other interesting aspects of this documentary is that there was some witnesses actually to a UFO that showed up over Varginha, then a flying saucer, and everyone saw this thing clearly. Multiple witnesses saw this thing clearly, and apparently it was looking for these aliens that had lived through the crash. So yeah, it's very intriguing stuff, and I highly recommend it. And I'll leave a link for the Amazon. You could go to Amazon Prime if you're interested in checking it out. If you're interested in spending the money, and then again, you might want to wait. But I think Fox has knocked it out of the ballpark with this one, and it's highly recommended. I really enjoyed it, and it's up there with the rest of his work. I mean, this guy, he continues to do a great job with these UFO documentaries. I think he's the best one out there right now who makes movies like this. Now there's other ones too that are good, but you have to look at the amount of films that he's put out, throughout his career, and here again he's done it again, and so I highly recommend Moment of Contact.